And today we're going to talk about astronomy. Are you ready to talk about astronomy?
I guess so. I'm ready to talk about astronomy.
Okay.
Does anybody here know anything about astronomy?
I don't know. I don't. When did you first become interested in astronomy?
Well, I always was interested in the night sky, and then particularly when they had these comets and what else? Meteor showers and all that. But what got me started really seriously a number of years ago, there was a comet Kohoutek.
In the early 70s. The early 70s.
In the early 70s. Oh, okay. And usually these comets are named after the people that discovered them. And this one happened to be, I think it's from Middle East somewhere. And I think it means the rooster's tail, the name of that, Kohoutek. And then I got interested. Oh, the first time I saw something of interest through a good telescope was many years ago at the Beloit College, when they had it set up with an 8-inch instrument. And I could look down in there, and the moon was first quarter, which is ideal. And I could see those mountains and craters of the moon. I was absolutely fascinated. So I started making inquiry, and I wanted to talk to somebody that knew something about it. And I was directed to a gentleman in Clinton, Wisconsin, by the name of David Hamilton, I think was his name, Hamilton for sure. He was a clothier in Clinton. And I went and introduced myself, and he was so happy to help me out and give me some good information, and he gave me some magazines. Most people don't want to part with them. I don't know what they keep them for. But anyway, he also suggested that I get a telescope with some quality, which I did. It was known as a Carvey 6, a 6-inch mirror. Now there are two types of telescopes, the ones with the mirror and the ones with the ground lens. Well, this one had the mirror, a Newtonian 6-inch. And I then wanted to get it. It came to Beloit. I don't remember where it came from originally, but anyway, Wanda had to go to Beloit and pick it up. Here she bring it in two big boxes, and I didn't have a clue what the hell was going on. But I finally got it together. And when I finally got it together, I didn't know where anything was. I looked around up there, and I could just kind of probe around. Oh, I could see the moon, the craters, Jupiter and Phobos moons, and the rings of Saturn. The rings of Saturn was one of the biggest thrills ever of my life, to see that so clear in that little fold there. And it went from there, and people would come and look, neighbors and friends, and it went on from there.
And what did you do to study and learn more about the
What did I
topic?
do to learn more
Yeah.
and study about it? Well, I kept reading about it, kept reading, and I learned a little bit. It's such a vast field out there, I know really very little. But let's start at the sun, which goes around. And then the first planet out is Mercury, and then Venus, and then Earth. And let's stop at the second one, Venus, which is about the size of Earth. And it's the only one of the planets that rotates to the west. All the rest go to the east, like Earth. But Venus is different. And another thing, we have our day here, 24 hours a day, and it takes once to go around the sun to make a year. Well, Venus got to be a little different, of course. It takes it longer to make one revolution around its axis. Our day is longer than its year.
And at some point you started getting invited to speak to groups.
Oh yeah, I got invited Well, people would come to the farm and I'd visit with them. And then one time I got an invitation to speak to 4-H kids at Center, speak on astronomy. And I confided to a friend of mine that I was suffering from stage fright. I said, I've never spoken in public. I'm suffering from stage fright. And his comment was, I don't know what you're worrying about. You can probably whip any kid in the place. But anyway, I've had a lot of fun with that, and I've been to functions all over the country. Well, not over the country, but quite a distance. And I've talked to literally thousands of people on astronomy. And I've enjoyed it very much.
And what are some of the stranger comments you got from, sometimes you'd go set up someplace and most people eagerly came and looked, but a few of them didn't want to look? Oh.
Yes, some people think it's a sacrilege to look out there. One woman told me she knew heaven was out there and she wasn't going to look. So I've met all kinds. And one 5th grade girl in a school, I was just putting my instrument away, and we were the only 2 left in the room, and she asked me, do you ever look at anything on the ground with that thing? I said, well, not very often, no. And she looked over both shoulders to make sure there was nobody around, and she said, did you ever spy in on any of the Tracy's parties? And I said no. But I knew who she was talking about. Well, she says, you wouldn't want to watch some of them. And I've had people that just flat out deny that there's anything out there. And some of them are really interested.
And
of course, I got to have my little fun. We had a little fun in Broadhead Airport one night after the fly-in was over and the sky got dark and I had my instrument out there. There were 40, 50 people around here, semicircle. And we were looking at Jupiter right at that moment, Jupiter, 4 of its moons. And someone wanted to know, how large is Jupiter? I said, Jupiter is the largest of the planets. If it were hollow, you could put 1,300 Earths inside. And one lady out front pipes right up, I don't believe that. And I says, ma'am, would you believe 1,250? And I got a good round of laughter with that one.
And then at some point you got a better telescope. What kind was that?
Yeah, my RV6, which I sometimes wish I'd have kept, but I got another one, mirrors. And I got an 8-inch, with an 8-inch.
And the brand is Mead.
It's a Mead, yes, a Mead 2080. And the largest telescope still working today, like round lens, is down here in the Yerkes at Williams Bay. Yerkes Observatory. When that was built in the early 1900s or thereabout, Williams Bay was way out in the boonies, out in the country, see? But now, of course, there's too many lights all over, so actually that whole facility is for sale. But that is 40-inch ground lens. That's about the limit of what you can grind the lens. After that, the glass bends.
And what would you say is the most interesting thing you've ever seen in the night sky?
The most interesting will always be to me the rings of Saturn. It's just absolutely mind-boggling. And those rings of Saturn, and this Saturn is big, you know. That's the next largest to Jupiter. Yeah. And you could put 1,100 Earths inside if that were hollow. And those rings are just fragments of ice and dirt and stuff. And it's about 10,000 miles across the rings and about 1,000 miles thick. But it's just a fascinating, and it always has never a moon, several moons. I can show you one of its moons, or maybe more, in my telescope. But now getting back to the moons, like we have one moon, and Jupiter has, I think they've counted over 150 now.
I think they keep finding more.
Yeah. I don't want to exaggerate, but I think it's 163. You know.
And for someone who's starting out and is interested in learning about astronomy, didn't you used to tell them that they should start maybe with a good pair of binoculars?
That is correct. Forget the high power. That's another thing. People make a mistake. Well, how many power is it? Forget the high power. You see them more with a lesser magnification and a larger mirror. Mm-hmm. Yes, you do. Just forget that high power stuff. Now, even that instrument that I have now, that 8-inch, I can put a lens in there that's so high powered, it focuses right out of view. You can't see hardly anything at all. You're better to get a bigger mirror and a wider field of view. Get that 40 millimeter, not the 8 or 6.
And
get a wide angle, then you can see something of interest.
If somebody wanted to start looking with binoculars, what size binoculars should they have?
A good size binocular would be a good brand name, and maybe a, what did I say, a 25, 30? Or something like that. Don't go over a 35. If you go too high, then again, you can't hold it steady. I had one time, I thought, well, if a 10 by 50 is good, a 20 by 70 would be a lot better. So I bought one, but couldn't hold it still. You have to have a big tripod. So I've learned a lot through my mistakes, and I'm happy to share my mistakes with anyone that's